Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing something a little different today. I really wanted to look at some of the fan theories that have been around in Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender, and especially because the show is so huge, there's like all these articles where they just go over every fan theory that exists. And so I want to look at all of them and see which ones are even legitimate and which ones are just stupid and which ones are fun. I found a Screen Rant article titled 20 Wild Theories from the Avatar Universe that make too much sense. And we're gonna decide whether these make any sense or not. 100 Years War is based on World War II. The show opens up with a backdrop of a long war, also known as the canon as the 100-Year War. It's because the 100 Years War was modeled after World War II, and the Fire Nation refers to Germany, a relatively small but militaristic nation that wanted to subjugate all other nations by expansion and conquest. Okay, yeah, I guess. I think that this is kind of like the most basic understanding of the show. I wouldn't necessarily think that the 100 Years War is specifically World War II, but just like how Harry Potter took inspiration for World War II, it's pretty obvious that Avatar also took a lot of inspiration from historical events. I would say that the 100 Years War is probably more based on the actual 100 Years War, the one that actually happened in real life. And I would probably say the Fire Nation is more akin to Japan, which did have a role in World War II. But yes, I can definitely see the similarities to World War II. Number 19, spirits can alter animals. There are many theories floating around, although the most convincing one is that spirits were somehow involved in the mixing and matching of animals. Okay, so again, this is one that I've heard, and I actually think this one is pretty good. Although I wouldn't call it spirits can alter animals, I would call this maybe spirits are the reason there's hybrid animals in Avatar, because I think that's probably, it seems like based on what we know about the way that spirits can function, it seems kind of likely that they would take over like an animal's body and then change them into being a hybrid animal, and then those hybrid animals would go on to reproduce. I actually have a full theory about this that I would like to break down on this channel, but yeah, I would say this one's pretty good. Sokka and Toph got together. Okay, the evidence they're saying is, according to one theory, Sokka and Toph got together at some point between two shows. Plausible because we don't hear any mention of Suki in The Legend of Korra, which may mean that she didn't last long after Atla. We also know that both Toph's eventual daughters are from different fathers, and she never divulged who they were, or at least to us. So it may be possible that one of them is Sokka. We hope not, though, as that would make Tenzin and Lin cousins. Actually, it wouldn't. It would make them, step cousins, I guess. Like, it wouldn't make them actual cousins. Okay, this person, I don't know if this person even knows the theory is about Suyin, because they're saying that Lin and Tenzin would be cousins. They would not be cousins. Suyin and Tenzin would be cousins. We already know who Lin's father is, the man named Kanto. And so yeah, they do divulge who one of them is. They just never divulge who Suyin's father is. I have made a short about this, and my problems with it aren't actually that Tenzin and Lin would be cousins, because they wouldn't be. My problem is that this kind of ruins Sokka / Toph's character. There's pretty much no mention of Suyin ever being related to Kaya and Bumi and Tenzin, so you think that that would be more relevant. And it kind of makes it seem like if Suyin is Sokka's daughter, then he kind of abandoned her, which is not a very good look. This theory has some convincing evidence, but I'm not 100% convinced by it. Number 17, Iroh's connection to the spirit world. We know that he was once a feared Fire Nation commander and he lost his son. Part of his arc was the connection to the spirit world. We can see him being able to spot Aang's spirit on Roku's dragon alongside Roku. His name is Fang. Though he shouldn't be able to, as only the Avatar or, well, the spirits can contact the spirit world. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if we ever actually hear that only the Avatar or only spirits can contact the spirit world. I think it's pretty much confirmed that people can communicate with spirits, especially in Avatar: Last Airbender, where we see spirits kidnapping people. I don't know about you, but it seemed like everyone in that town, including Sokka, could see Heibai. Yeah, I don't know if this is really a theory as much as it's just like a canonical fact that Iroh eventually became a spirit. I guess the theory is how that happened, but they don't really present a theory about how it happened. I guess the theory is that after Lu Ten died, he became more spiritual, which is like not really a theory. It's like kind of just an explanation. But obviously Lu Ten's death had a huge impact on Iroh. Amman is similar to Stalin. Oh my goodness. Guys, one of the historical parallels that sounds too plausible not to be true is Amman's similarity to Joseph Stalin. Is that really? Is it? It's not too out of the way to equate the equalists with Bolsheviks and the revolution that happened in Russia. Joseph Stalin's fall to grace was similar to Stalin's. What? Joseph Stalin's fall to grace was also similar to Stalin's. Yes, I would agree Joseph Stalin's fall to grace was similar to his own fall of grace. Can you guys proofread your articles before you post them? Jesus Christ. Despite claiming the people's leader was found to have been living a life of opulence, quite like Amman's ability to bend. I guess, yeah, again, like, yes, I guess this is true. Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if Joseph Stalin is exceptional in being a hypocrite as a dictator. I think that's sort of just a common trope with dictators, right? I don't know though. I don't know about this theory as much. I don't know if it was directly supposed to be Stalin, but I do think that there's historical precedent, I guess. Yeah, I guess this is fine, but I don't really buy this one as much. The Water Nation is based on India. What is this? No, it's not. Okay, of all the nations shown in the series, the one that stands out is the Water Nation. While it's generally agreed that the Avatar world is based on the Far East Oriental side of Asia, well, that's not really true either, because there's a lot of things in the Avatar universe that have nothing to do with East Asia or the Oriental kind of region of East Asia. You know, like an example, there's the Sun Warriors who are clearly like Aztec. There's also Guru Patik, who is clearly Hindu. And look, the name Avatar comes from Hindu belief, right? I want to call it all Far East influence. I think there's a huge Asian / American influence onto this show. The Water Nation doesn't at all. It doesn't quite align with the art style and attire of any other nation, has a tighter bond between families, and can defend itself quite well when attacked, but generally likes to be left alone. Some theories say that it's because the Water Nation is actually referring to India. They also leave a close connection to the spirits and are quite conservative in nature, as seen by Paku's reluctance to teach Katara because she was a girl. Qatar. The country of Qatar. No. I'm gonna have to say no. What about their culture is... I'm ignorant, guys. Maybe you guys can enlighten me about something about Indian culture that has to do with the Water Tribe. I would say the Water Tribe is much more... I would say it's much more like Native Canadian Inuit or Native Alaskan or like Native Russian kind of... that more general area. I wouldn't call it Indian. And also, I see a lot of similarities to Polynesian culture, like the surfing and the boats and things like that. But India, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe there probably definitely is some influence from India. But I'm just saying, I see more so definitely Inuit and like a little more Polynesian. Amman learned from Ty Lee. Okay, this theory, let's read it. Okay. One theory suggests that Amman, the chi-blocking bloodbender in The Legend of Korra, aka Noatak, could only have been so good at chi-blocking because he learned it from Ty Lee herself. While the other equalists are good at it, there's no evidence that they know how to do it before Amman. The theory suggests that Amman actually uses blood bending and chi blocking that he picked up from Ty Lee together to take away bending. It can't be energy bending as he's not an avatar, so this makes sense. Okay, I agree that it's not energy bending, right? I definitely agree it's not energy bending, because obviously Amman can't energy bend, the water bender. But I would say, I mean, yeah, maybe they're using the chi to block. I think that's pretty much confirmed that they're using the chi to block the bending ability, which is the same thing that Ty Lee does. But I mean, you have to give us a motivation. Why would Ty Lee teach Amman, right? Why would she teach Noatak? Like, we kind of know what Noatak's history is, right? Him and Tarlok were raised by Yakone in the Northern Water Tribe. Like, why would Ty Lee be there? It doesn't really make sense. She was a part of the Kyoshi Warriors after. I kind of like more... I kind of prefer the theory that the Kyoshi Warriors become equalists, even though that also doesn't really make sense. And then maybe Amman just sort of took advantage of this group. I mean, that might make more sense, but I don't know if Amman was taught by Ty Lee. I don't know, like, that doesn't make as much sense to me, but I mean, I guess it could be possible. This is kind of one of those things where it's like, just because two characters can do the same thing doesn't mean that they're related, right? Like, was Katara secretly Noatak's mom because she can bloodbend too? Like, you know what I'm saying? Was Yakone the son of Hama? Like, do we have to do all this? Number 13, the live-action movie was an adaptation of Aang's story from the Ember Island Players. Yes, okay, I've seen this one too. The reality of the live-action adaptation was not actually an adaptation of the show, but of an adaptation of Aang's story done by the Ember Island Players in the Season 3 episode of the same name. We remember the play to be hilariously bad, with many of the details outright inaccurate or unrealistically exaggerated. It makes sense, and it slightly redeems the movie in a way. You know, I don't want to give the movie any more credit than it deserves. I guess it's one where you can just kind of like think of it as true, but you know, to be honest, can we just let this movie die? Like, no thank you, I'm okay. I honestly think the Ember Island Players is like 10,000 times better than The Last Airbender, let's be real. That one episode of Avatar is 1,000 million times percent better than this. than this movie. Number 12, it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. What if it's not in another world and is just a future version of our own world? A long time after everything was destroyed with some kind of an apocalyptic event in the real timeline that eliminated all traces of life before it. Maybe even a nuclear okay, why? I don't understand how. We know that Avatar has all kinds of things in this universe that is just not possible in our universe. Such as like spirits, transcending the afterlife, reincarnating. I mean, not that I know for sure what comes after death, but in the Avatar world, it's actually pretty clear what happens. So yeah, I don't think that that's real. I think this is just like a theory they slap on everything. Like, oh, this is a post-apocalyptic world. This is like, why? That makes no sense, right? It's clearly just another world, takes place in another fantasy world, and we even see the history of this world where they used to live on lion turtles. So it's like, where did the lion turtles come from then? Are they post-apocalyptic mutants? Like, what is going on? Number 11, Hama wasn't the first bloodbender. Okay, let's see this one. Was Hama the first one to develop it though? Many people would think yes, but if you rewatch Aang and Yakon's fight in The Legend of Korra, Aang was perfectly able to counter bloodbending in the Avatar state. We think that the Avatar state will be charged with all of the superpowers, but it's actually all of the knowledge of the previous Avatars. Without a previous Avatar having been familiar with bloodbending and countering it, Aang couldn't have possibly known how to, proving that at some point in the past, bloodbending was common enough for the Avatar to have learned and defended against it. Okay, this one's is not so bad, because I think that could kind of be the case. We don't actually know why Aang was able to defend himself against Yakone. My personal theory is that it has something to do with energy bending, right? I think it more has to do with something with blood bending affecting the chi and the Avatar being able to bend their own chi in a way, so they can probably just circumvent bloodbending. We see Korra also do this, and it makes sense because Korra and Aang were the only ones who knew how to energy bend. However, I guess this also makes sense, but I would argue Korra and Aang really didn't know how to bloodbend, right? And it's not like Korra was able to give people back their bending through bloodbending. She had to use energy bending in order to do that. So this theory is maybe a little better than some of the other ones, but I'm still gonna say that it probably isn't true. Number 10, Judys drowned in the lake. What is going on? I've never heard this one. What happened to the Judys we see in the underground when the lake was overrun by water in the season finale has always been a point of speculation among fans. For one, we know that there were a bunch of them, ready to replace the current Judy in any case she makes a mistake. It's never actually shown in the show, but the Dai Li likely let the Judys drown in the lake before they covered up the whole facility, as it was done pretty fast and they wouldn't have time to make alternative arrangements. The thing is I don't know about this, guys. Like, this is really dark. I mean, I agree that this is really dark. And Judy was always like one of the darkest elements in Avatar, the original series. I don't know if I agree that Judys are all dead. I think that one at the Dai Li, like, I mean, they kidnapped a bunch of women. That's a lot of, you can see how valuable all of the Airbenders were to the Earth Queen. I think that the Judys also would have been pretty valuable to the Dai Li during that time. I mean, they were essentially the only way that they were able to communicate with all of the outside people, and like, they were sort of like undercover Dai Li agents. So I think that they would be valued, especially all the brainwashing that would have went into it. I think the Dai Li probably would have just removed them from the building rather than just flood it all and let them all die. That doesn't really make all that much sense, right? Why would they do that? I mean, they could easily just have led them out of the Lake Laogai and then just drowned it, right? I don't like this theory. Number 9, Appa is still alive. The Avatar's connection with their pet or animal guide is a special one. Of all the Avatars we've seen who've had one around, like Roku and Korra, we know that the creatures follow them wherever they go and are always there in the help. They follow them into the spirit world too, as we see with Roku and his dragon. That's not true for Aang and Appa though. Since all of Aang's appearances in The Legend of Korra, we never see a glimpse of Appa being around. During Aang's timeline, we don't know of any other sky bisons from all of the air temples Aang visited, who likely all went extinct within the war on the Air Nation. We do see sky bisons in The Legend of Korra though, suggesting that Appa may have just been up to some interesting things. Okay, if there were no sky bisons before Appa, how did Appa reproduce then? If Appa's the parent of all of the sky bison that we see in The Legend of Korra, doesn't there still have to be at least one surviving female sky bison for that to work? I think it makes more sense that there was just a population of sky bison that existed, probably the same population that we see in The Legend of Korra, that was being taken care of by the Fire Nation shaman. I think that these people probably have existed for a very long time, and they've been keeping sky bisons probably since the genocide. As for the reason why Appa doesn't show up in The Legend of Korra, Yeah, I don't really know why he would. The only reason that Fang shows up is because Fang is trying to guide Aang to Roku. We see that Korra is much less spiritual than Aang is, and she doesn't attempt to go into the spirit world or anything until she's actually met Aang. And it's not like we see any of the other avatars, animal companions like Kyoshi or Yang Chen when they talk to Aang either. So no, I think Appa probably just died alongside Aang. The avatar world is Asia. I mean, it's based on Asia. I don't know if it's literally Asia. It's also based on more continents than just Asia, right? We know the map of the Avatar world quite well from this show, and despite the attempts to draw any similarities with the Earth, we've never found indications that it's based on our world. However, what if it wasn't based on the whole Earth, but just part of it? Plenty of fans have made a connection to the Avatar world with Asia just before the Industrial Era. For one, it's no secret that the Avatar's whole art style was inspired by Asia. As for similarities to Asia, the Fire Nation aligns with Japan, as a lot of Fire Nation names are similar in origin. Fire is also predominantly a theme in mythology, suggesting that the parallels may be intended. Earth Nation could be seen as China, a nation with... Okay, so I don't know if this one is saying that it's literally Asia, but clearly, yes, this is... The Avatar world is inspired by Asia, if that's what this theory is. Like, okay, yes, this is a good theory. It's not really a theory, it's just like a fact. But yeah, also the Fire Nation isn't entirely based on Japan. There's a lot of similarities with a lot of other cultures in the Fire Nation. Like we see some of the Sun Warriors are American or like Aztec Mayan. So if this theory is literally that it's Asia, then I'm going to have to say no. But if it's that it's based on Asia, then yeah, I guess that's true. Number 7, the White Lotus may be a reference to the real life societies. I don't understand why these are theory. This isn't a theory. This is just is the White Lotus a reference to real life underground society? Yes. They are. I don't know what else to say. Like, yes. The White Lotus can refer to a bunch of groups throughout history, most predominantly one of them being the White Lotus, a progressive as well as a religious group going as far back as the 13th century in China. The White Rose, a non-violent intellectual resistance group in Nazi Germany, and the Freemasons. While we can't put a precise finger on which one of them the White Lotus group refers to exactly, it may just be a bit of all of them. Yeah, well, I think it's no secret that the White Lotus is named after a literal historical group in China. And I also think it's very similar to the Freemasons and other secret societies. So yeah, I think this one is, again, it's like, okay, yeah, this is just what it's based on. Like, that's not really a theory, is it? Number 6, the story takes place on a smaller planet. Okay, this one is the one I've heard before. Some theories say that the reason why the world of Avatar is so small compared to the Earth is because it takes place on a different, smaller planet. This is why everyone speaks the same language, and bending arts like airbending and earthbending are just arts based on different gravity. What? What about water bending and fire bending? You can generate fire out of your hand. How does being a smaller Earth change that? I don't think it does. While we don't know if this is true, the theory certainly provides a good explanation for why the Avatar would look... I think this is mostly because Katara, Saka, Toph, and Zuko like travel the entire Avatar world from Ember Island to Ba Sing Se, and what we can only imagine is like a couple hours or maybe like a day at most. Guys, I think this is just like a plot hole. Or maybe they went the other route. You know, maybe they went over the ocean. Maybe they didn't go all the way through the Avatar world. Maybe they went like from Ember Island and then went... What direction was that? And then went west and then met Ba Sing Se that way. Maybe there's less ocean that way. I think that might make sense. I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways you can explain how they were able to make that trip in such few hours, other than the fact that the world is small, especially because they took an entire season to get from the North Pole. So if this is true, then the Avatar world would have to be very tall, like lengthwise, and then very small widthwise. Number 5, the Airbenders aren't extinct. Some fans speculate the Airbenders weren't all gone, as we only see definitive proof of one battle in one air temple, the Southern Air Temple. An attack on the Northern Air Temple is also implied, though we don't see any proof of the Fire Nation made it there before the Mechanists occupied it with its people. Yes, we do. There are no Airbenders. That's the proof we see. The Western Air Temple, in comparison, is practically undamaged when Aang arrives, suggesting that the Fire Nation didn't attack all the Airbenders. Okay, but so is the Southern Air Temple. The Southern Air Temple is in, perfect condition. It's just that all the Airbenders are dead. The theory also makes sense because the Air Nomads were not settled people like other nations, so there's a good chance some of them remain alive and in hiding. I don't know what they mean by not settled people, because they clearly were settled people. They had 4 different temples that they lived permanently in. The only reason they were called the air nomads is because they would travel from one air temple to the other air temple. But if this is true and that there are more airbenders, like where are they? Because we haven't seen any of them, and there's been like 80 years of history where we've seen no airbenders. So no, I don't think there's any airbenders left besides Tenzin. Number 4, combustion bending is a reference to the Hindu god Shiva. Guys, I don't actually know very much about the Hindu gods, so maybe like... Let's see. One theory suggests that the third eye is actually a reference to Lord Shiva in the Hindu mythology. Shiva had a bad habit of occasionally opening his third eye and showering destruction down on people from time to time, much like Combustion Man and Pali, the 2 combustion benders that we see in the show. Okay, I mean, maybe. I think that this is more due to the chakra of the third eye, which is like the it's like the pineal gland or whatever, right on your forehead. Which, yes, it has a lot to do with Hinduism, and there's also a lot of other cultures in the world that have like a third eye or like talk about sort of the pineal gland. Yeah, I guess this could be a reference to Shiva. I think this is more of a reference just to, in general, the idea of like a third eye. But I do like the connection between Shiva and Combustion. This is actually not one of the worst ones. I will say this is not one of the worst theories. Screen rant. Number 3, Katara was said to be the Avatar. Okay, I've seen this one. I've seen this about Katara, and I've seen this about Yue. So I don't understand exactly, but let's read. Aang's life had been quite difficult in more ways than one. After having escaped a complete wipeout of his people, he preserved himself in the ice for 100 years before he found Katara and Saka. One theory says it's because Aang was never supposed to be the Avatar in the show's timeline. His preservation delayed his demise, and it was actually Katara who was supposed to be the new Avatar, as Aang should have been long gone by then. Why Katara and not anyone else? According to the Avatar cycle, an Airbender and Avatar is always followed by a waterbending one, and Katara seems to have been the most gifted with waterbending around. If it's true, then Korra would have never been the Avatar if Aang hadn't messed up the whole thing. Guys, I don't know, like, I hate this theory. I don't know if I agree with this one. The problem I have with this one is first of all, why would the Avatar cycle have Katara be born then? And also, why would Katara have been born later? Wouldn't she have been born right after the genocide then? If Aang was never supposed to have escaped and he was supposed to have died in the genocide, wouldn't have Katara been like 100 years old? Like, I don't know. I don't agree with this. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would she have just been born 14 years for no reason, right? Wouldn't she have been born when Aang died? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, and also, wouldn't it have been Korra who would have been born, right? Not Katara. Katara's a completely different person, right? She's not the same person as Korra. I just don't like this theory. It's the same thing with Yue. It's the same thing with Yue. I don't believe that Yue was the Avatar. Although I guess it makes a little more sense because there's more like a spiritual element. Like, we don't really know what she was sick with as a baby. Like, maybe it was some spiritual thing because she was supposed to be the Avatar. I don't know. That one still isn't like great, but it makes a little more sense than the Katara was supposed to be the waterbending Avatar. I don't know. I don't really like this theory. I just don't really like it. I don't think it makes that much sense. The Avatar world is the Pokemon world in the future. No, I'm a fan of both of these franchises, and can I say no? I don't want this to be a thing. We don't see humans bending in Pokemon, do we? I don't see Ash Ketchum throwing around fireballs. I don't like this theory at all. I don't like it at all. Overlaps between the various pop culture universes are some of our favorite types of theory. It's not my favorite, not mine. Though good ones are hard to come by because of how implausible some of them are. This one, though, may make some sense if you consider something. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. According to this theory, the Avatar universe is the Pokemon universe. Only in the distant future. We know that this is like the same thing as the post-apocalypse. Like, why? Like, no, it just doesn't make sense. We know that the Avatar world, the animals like sea turtles, badger moles, and sky bisons. When do we ever see sea turtles in the Avatar world? I don't think we ever see sea turtles. Whatever. We're the original sea turtles. We don't see sea turtles are not the original bender. What are you talking about? The moon was the original bender. Are they talking about lion turtles? Because, yes, lion turtles are a thing, not sea turtles. Can I just... Guys, Screen Rants. We're the original benders and taught people bending. Pokemon has animals that could control the base form of the elements too with various varies. Okay, what about fairy type? What about the psychic type? What about ghost type? What about dark type? Like, there's so many other types that are not represented in Avatar in any way. And also, why none of the humans have bending abilities? Where's the Avatar in Pokemon? There are many godly and ghostly Pokemon too, which perfectly aligns with the various powerful spirits we... No. Pokemon evolve. Where do the spirits don't evolve, they get corrupted by Vatu, right? And then where's Vatu in Pokemon? Like I don't like this theory. It doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. I don't like it. No thank you. Pass. Okay. Okay, this is probably the worst one. I mean, they really did the worst one. They saved the worst one for last, right? Zahir is Aang's son. No, I don't like this one. I honestly prefer like the Zahir tried to kill Aang in the past. I think that one makes more sense. The Red Lotus were trying to kill Aang. I think that one I like more than Zahir was Aang's son. Or maybe even Zahir is the reason Aang died. I like that one. Actually, I like that one a lot better. That Zahir killed Aang. Now that one is pretty dark and pretty crazy. But yes, I actually like that one a little bit. Zahir being Aang's son though, like why? Like why? The events between the two shows have always been a mystery, especially the ones related to Aang. We know that he fathered 3 children with Katara, Bumi, Tenzin, and Kaya, and had a troubled relationship with Bumi and Kaya. I don't think they had that troubled of a relationship, by the way. I think the Kaya and Bumi maybe would have liked him to be more present in their life, but I'm pretty sure Kaya and Bumi both had a lot of love and had a very strong relationship with Aang. I don't think it was a necessarily like this horrible childhood like people make it seem like. You know, I think they just had some problems with the way that he treated them as children, which is normal for any adult, right? Once you become an adult, I'm just saying, once you become an adult, you realize that your parents are not perfect, they're not infallible, that they make mistakes, right? One theory says that Aang was actually the 4th child. Oh my god. Had a 4th child. And the 4th one being Zahir. Many factors include this possibility, like the fact that Zahir was well versed in the Air Nation literature, something he could have had access to if he was around an airbender. Aang being the only one. He also learned to fly within months of getting his airbending, something even Aang couldn't do. The theory says that Aang and Zahir were close. I mean, we actually don't know if Aang... I mean, maybe Aang did have the ability to fly. We don't actually know, but I mean, yeah, I guess it's implied that he doesn't. The theory says that Aang and Zahir were close at some point, but something happened that made Aang take away Zahir's airbending. This is why Zahir and Tenzin's battle took up so much airtime. Nice pun. As it wasn't just the 2 best airbenders in the world fighting, but brothers. It also explains why Zahir's hatred towards the Avatar. Okay, no. 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 I don't like this. Why? Like, why doesn't it come up? Wouldn't Kaya recognize him if this was true? Why would Aang have a son and then take his airbending away? Like, I don't think Aang would have done that, even if Zahir was. I mean, I guess if Zahir really went off the deep end, I guess he would have. Why wouldn't Tenzin, Kaya, and Bumi all know this? Like, why wouldn't they know who Zahir is? Because Kaya doesn't even recognize Zahir at all. I mean, she eventually does, but she seems to, like, not know him immediately. And obviously, if that was your brother, you'd know him, like, immediately, right? I just hate this theory. I hate this theory. Also, why not anyone else? Like, why isn't Kai? Why isn't Oppo? Why isn't everyone? Like, there's a bunch of airbenders that end up being very powerful airbenders. Why aren't they all Aang's kids? Because they aren't? I don't know. I guess I like the idea that Zahir could have been like a descendant of Air Nation people. Like that one makes a little more sense, I guess. Although I guess he's mostly just an Earth Nation person. That's how I assumed it. Yeah, I hate this theory. Why? This is just as bad as like the Aang is Amman's parent theory that was happening during the first season of The Legend of Korra. I just don't like this theory. Okay, guys, you know, if you like this video, please go ahead and leave a like, leave a subscription. I'm sorry about this horrible shadow that's just been there the whole time. It's not my fault. If you guys like the theory, you know, I would really like to make more Screen Rant because Screen Rant has awful theories. I'm just saying, no offense, Screen Rant. You guys have some awful theories. And I really like to look at and like make fun of them, to be honest. Like it's fun to make fun of Screen Rant's awful theories. I'm just saying it's fun to make fun of them. But yeah, if you guys like this video, please go ahead and leave a like, leave a subscription. I'll see you guys all in the next one.